This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to You Are What You Love, your window into the future of spirituality. We're going to talk to you about your life and the evolution of your soul while we bring alive the essence of eternal truth. So here is your host, the author of You Are What You Love, Vaishali.
Welcome to another exciting adventure of You Are What You Love. I'm your hostess, Vaishali. And today we have one of our most favorite people, animal communicator extraordinaire, Miss Donna Dvorak. And she's generously making her last appearance on the show for the year of 2020, a year a lot of people will not be sad to say goodbye to. And if you wanted to call into the station and ask Donna a question, you're welcome to call in at 844-390-8255. That's 844-390-8255. Also, I want to encourage you to go to her website, DonnaDvorakAnimalCommunicator.com. I have the link in the chat room here at CTRnetwork.com if you'd like to join me. She spells her name a little unusually. It's pronounced Donna, but it's spelled D-A-N-A, and then her last name Dvorak, D-V-O-R-A-K, animalcommunicator.com. So Donna, thank you so much for coming back and doing this with us one more time. Donna has a wonderful newsletter that she puts out. You can sign up for her newsletter. And so Donna, I'm so curious to talk to you because a couple of things I wanted to tell you. I don't know if you've seen an ad for these things on TV called the Flippity Fish.
No, I didn't. I very rarely watch TV, to be honest with you. So I don't, and especially when there is a commercial, I always switch the channels. So I didn't see it. What is it?
It's not battery operated. You plug it in and charge it up, and it's a fish with a thing that makes it flip like it's out of water. So
I got it last year for my cats, and they don't like it, neither of them.
Really?
Yes, I have the fish here still. I have two. I got like four, and and they just absolutely don't even pay attention to it.
Okay. Well, I'll let you know what happens over here with the girls. They have a mind of their own. We'll see if it's a colossal failure or an epic success.
I was disappointed because I thought it was such a cool idea, for the cat to have a flapping fish. And my cats both look at it like, what the hell? What is wrong with you? What did you give us? Give us our catnip back. And that was it.
Yeah, my girls have a tendency to go for toys that have movement in it.
Okay, you know what? Every animal is different. They all have their different ways what they like.
It's true. It's true. And as you know, I should have named Miss Jackson Adult Supervision Required because she likes to get into everything. And so she doesn't need much of an excuse. So, Miss Galaxy might be afraid because it makes a noise, and Miss Jackson may not. I'll give you the Flippity Fish 411. And
yes, I'd love to.
One of the things I really appreciate about you and the work that you do is I had to get out of my apartment for 2 nights and a day for some mold treatment for my apartment. And I had to take the cats with me. And my cats have never been outside of their home since I brought them here. Sure, they've gone to the vet and back again, but it was not anything that was an overnight thing. So they're over 7. And for one of my more sensitive kitties, Miss Galaxy, she was not okay with leaving the homestead for 2 nights. That was not something I knew she would be all right with. And she wasn't. No cats are really big on change. But I had tried to talk to them before with the techniques that, I've learned from you, to tell them where we're going, to imagine in my mind, the dark time, the day and the dark, so that they know how long we're going to be gone and that we are coming back. This is just a temporary thing. And kept telling them, this is going to be an adventure. We're going on an adventure. And I was so curious to talk to you and find out how they interpreted all that and what they had to say to you about the 2 nights and 1 day out of the apartment.
So yes, so I actually talked to them. When I talked to them, they both, they both came together and they spoke together today. And they said to me, first thing what they said were, we are happy to be home. And they said they knew that something was happening in the house when they were gone because they can still smell it, and they gave me like a weird smell. So I don't know how they treated your place, but anyways, it was just they could still smell it. And they said they did understand that when you were talking to them that they're going to go away. They said we understood, Mom. So your talking to them, your communication was actually good. They just knew they're going away, but they didn't understand, and it was going to be okay, but they didn't really grasp how long. So that in that point but they just knew. So they were not really, they were not super upset. Now, Miss Jackson said that we don't like to stay in different places. It was not as comfortable as at home. They said, both of them said, they don't like their stuff to be misplaced. They don't like their feeding bowls, different place. And also Miss Galaxy said she doesn't like not having the big chair.
I bet.
And then they said, and they said they particularly don't like to stay in the place where they were because they felt like oppressed, like the energy of the place, of the apartment was closing on them. They gave me like a very tight feeling. It was energetic. It was not like they were in a box. But they said it was like being stuffed in a very small place.
Compared to where they normally have their territory, they were confined to a bedroom and a bathroom. And I did what I thought would make them more comfortable, which was bring over some of their beds with their scent and one of their favorite blankets. And I thought that would make them feel calmer, but they wouldn't use them. They wouldn't gravitate to them. And I was just a little confused.
Well, they just didn't like where they stayed. That's because they said that it was very tiring for them because they had to work overtime. They had very strong, like their energy was coming out of them. I saw they showed me like a big, strong protective energy around their body. And they said that the whole apartment were not clean energetically. Okay, they said they try to neutralize everything and clean the apartment for their own sake and also for your sake, since you were staying there. What they showed me was like a gray smoke and like a black swirls in the place.
Huh.
And they said it was very tiring for them because they had to protect themselves and also protect mom. Okay, and they said that the lady who lives there, which I think they meant Sarah, obviously. They said they feel sorry for her, but they also afraid of her in a way a little bit, because they always have to be cautious because there is so much going on around her, like energetically.
Oh, that's why they're hard.
Okay. Yes. And they said they actually gave me very detailed informations about her. They said about her past life. Because it was just I did not expect this at all, to be honest. So anyway, so they showed me that Sarah had a past life which was very significant for what's happening with her now. And that was like 2000 BC in Crete, or at least what we call Crete right now, or Creta. And the society there was very evolved socially. It was a very evolved society. And Sarah was a prophetess. She was the oracle of the goddess, of the female goddess who ruled there. The goddess also was called the mother. And Sarah was a king's daughter. She was chosen because the rule there in that society that one of the royal line must always be sacrificed to the mother. But there was not like the sacrifice was that they would be chosen to be the prophets for the mother. It was for a life. There would be no marriage. And the person had to be fully dedicated as a servant of the mother. And they would train the chosen one for 10 years before she started to work. And what happened was she would replace the old oracle who was there and who was too old, or it was a time for her service to stop. And so there was always the oracle in that place, and it was never interrupted line, which was very important, because they said if the line was interrupted, something terrible would happen, like a horrible disaster would befall on the country. So now the oracle, the new prophetess, Sarah, her job was to learn how to connect to spirits and how to invite them in, really, and how to get all the information for everything, because she had people she was predicting for the king's family, for everything. She was so vital to that society. It was like she was one of the most important, prominent people in that society of the old Crete. And so but the 10-year training was to learn how to evoke the spirits, because it was not only light ones, it was also dark ones, but how to work with them, but also how to command them to go back. So she had the control over them. She would not let them just come and then just run around, So, and she knew how to be safe. So especially when she would deal with the more dangerous one, which of course have also, each of them would give her different information. So especially the more dangerous one would not stay. And she was very powerful in this life and always correct. And then what happened, she could never give. She was always bound by oath to say everything what she saw, or each info. She couldn't withhold any information. She had to give everything what she got, what she learned. Now, once she had many siblings, because her royal family was quite large, and she also had a few brothers, which the older brother was to take over, follow the father, become a king once the father died. Now, but one of the younger brothers was very power hungry, and he wanted to become a king instead of the older brother. And he was scheming, and he went to the oracle, and he asked her to give a false prophecy to her father, so he will be named king instead of the older brother. And she refused, and he killed her. And that was a terrible thing to do, because to kill the oracle was like it was a huge sacrilege. But he killed her, and there was a terrible earthquake which happened just when he did this, and it destroyed majority of the island. But also what happened to Sarah, because she died a violent death, which was not supposed to happen, because the rule for the oracles, from what I was told, was that before she finished to be the oracle, she had to do it was called the closing ritual. And that was something she had to do to pass on her position to the new oracle. And somehow she couldn't do this, obviously, because she was killed. And so they said that now she is like an open vessel for all the energies, and they come in and she just doesn't have a control over them. She's like, she didn't leave this part of her past life behind her. And so sometimes they are good, and like she's very intuitive, she can have, so that is a good thing to it. But also sometimes these energies and these spirits are not good. Sometimes they are bad, and they're causing physical injuries to her and sickness and all kind of stuff. So that is what they showed me. And I asked the girls, I said, well, can she repair it? Can she just fix this? And they said, the girls, that she must do so from within, like from her. It doesn't really help her when other people try to, try to do that when they helping her, but she has to do it within herself, and that she has to remember the closing ritual. And I asked them, I said, well, how is she supposed to do that? And they said that she should, somebody maybe guide her to get connected with a past life. So I'm assuming maybe a hypnotherapy session, or maybe some type of a meditation, or somebody could just like guide her to her higher self and connect her somehow to remember that particular ritual, so she can close she can close herself off to those energies from outside.
Well, since she's not doing it, it sounds like if she just goes to the divine and says, God, you are my closing ritual. I ask you to take care of me, to close this, to do this, because you do everything that is good and true. I do nothing. It comes from you. That would be, since she doesn't do the closing, if it's a good and true act, nobody does it. God does it, because God's the source and repository of all that's good and true. It's about turning it over to God instead of her thinking she does it. Because that's where the spirits of the world get you, is when you think that you're doing it and it's not coming from the divine.
She can. Yeah, I'm sure that. So she should probably do something like that. Now, also what they showed me, and maybe that has some, maybe Sarah will know who that is. They said that particularly there is a spirit of a very old man. And this is like, the guy was really old. Like he looked very like skin, like I only saw his face a little bit. It was like a very drawn in face, like a thin man, white, like almost, I would say, I want to say he had like a very sparse, tiny, like a white gray stubble on his face, not much hair. And this spirit of this old man, he looked very like somebody who would be very sick, like wasted away almost. And so he is with her. And it felt like it would be somebody who was her father, or who's been her father many, many times before, but it was not necessarily a good spirit to have around, because it was draining her. Mm-hmm. And then the girls said they both are kind of exhausted from the stay, and they need clearing for themselves. And when I was asking about you, and they said your energy is very strong, that you didn't got anything.
Okay, when I was over there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But the girls were kind of, not that they had anything, but it was just they were tired out, and they said they want clearing for themselves.
Yeah, and I know they're used to a certain environment over here, so anything that isn't the environment they're used to is going to be something they're going to go to work on.
Yeah. And they very, their energy is very high vibrational, because being with you, and they're very high vibrational beings. So anything like this, it's just, they, of course, they really give out a lot of energy, and they will try to help, to clean the place and do stuff. So that's a lot on them.
Yeah. Well, they're happily at home now, and you think they'd never left. So I appreciate you're filling me in on that. That's one of the things I really value about my relationship with you, and anybody who has a relationship with you is, there's so many questions we have about what's going on, in the nervous system of our animal companions, and to have somebody like you that we can talk to and we can get straight answers is just absolutely invaluable. And
Thank you.
I just want to take a quick second and remind our listening audience you're listening to Contact Talk Radio. And today our guest is animal communicator Donna Dvorak. And if you would like to call in and ask Donna a question, the lines are open at 844-390-8255. And I want to encourage you to please go to her website, Donna Dvorak, animalcommunicator.com. I've got a link to it in the chat room here at CTR Network if you'd like to join me in the chat room. And she's got a great newsletter. So go to her website and sign up for her newsletter. It will be something that you will thoroughly enjoy. And you always learn something when you read Donna's newsletter. And I always appreciate that. And sweetheart, we've got Sarah here who has 2 kitties that she left with someone in California when she moved across country. And the person she left her kitties with is just not communicating with her. She can't get an email or a text or a phone response. So who are you going to call? Donna Dvorak. So I had asked if you could make contact with her kitty so she could know what's going on. Are they okay? Are they with her? What's going on?
Okay. So Yanyoka, she sent me the pictures of the kitties. I mean, I have pictures of Sequoia and Rainier. Yes.
Yeah.
So Sequoia is actually the one who speaks first. And I know they are both the same age, but she seems to be, she's like the one who took, she's kind of in charge in their couple. Like she seems more mature, almost like she would be older. Like she's the one who speaks for them. So right now, she said, "We are okay. Tell mom that we are fine."
Oh, good.
And then Rainier's coming in and she says, "I have fun. Even though it can get to be too much sometimes." And she is giving me the sense of like noise, kids running around, screaming, like lots of commotion. But she says, "But we go and hide if it's too much." And then she says, there is a small dog and he's very annoying. And he's very needy. He's very needy for attention. She says, we keep to our, this is Sequoia speaking. She says, we keep, it seems like they're not getting that, and this is not bad. But from what she's showing me, it's like they're not getting so much attention. The kids would maybe, but they kind of, she says, we keeping to ourselves. So much action here. We hide or jump up where no one can reach us. And
Yeah.
she says the lady is overwhelmed.
Yeah,
She is very stressed out.
she's in a total lockdown state. So everybody has to stay in. So I'm sure it's, confined chaos.
She says she cares for us well. So I see, she showed me they've fed, there's the water for them, but there is not really, I feel energy from the lady, like she likes that, like a good positive energy, like she wants to care for them, she loves them, but there is not much time for her to give them attention. And then they say, we miss you, Mom, but we are happy.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Great. That
Now,
can't get better
that's
than that.
Yeah. Now, one thing which is, this is maybe something, if something like this come up in the future, I'm getting from both of them, they happy. But if in the future they would have to change homes again, they prefer to go to place with adults. like to be themselves only, no more. Like I think they are okay with the commotion and with the dog and with the kids, but if they to move to different family, they would prefer to be the only animals and to have adults only.
Yeah, that's the environment they came from, so I'm not surprised they were acclimated to that.
Mm-hmm.
But that is,
I mean,
Is it possible for them to be rehomed? Are they saying that they might be?
no, they're saying that if the situation calls for them to be rehomed,
okay,
that's what
but
they're
not-
putting their 2 cents in. This is
okay.
what we want.
Okay.
But they're fine to stay where they're at.
yes, they fine. They saying we miss you, Mom, to say we miss you to Sarah, but we are happy. We are happy, and we are okay. And and Sequoia was saying that the lady, who is taking care of them, she's taking care of them well. It's just she's so stressed and overwhelmed, she doesn't really have enough time to give them super big time attention or do anything, So she seems like the lady who is handling them is very much in like a stressful situation because of her family, I would say.
Right. That's pretty much what we had speculated, but it's nice to get confirmation.
Yeah, it helps to know that they are okay. But they okay. I mean, they in the beginning it seemed like it was new for them, so they kind of enjoyed the commotion more because it was such a change. So it was something new, especially Rainier seems like she liked it. But now they kind of like got over it and they okay. But they okay. They keep to themselves and they do their own thing.
Okay, great. Thanks, sweetheart.
Very grateful.
Of course.
And
you're welcome. You're welcome.
This is one of the things that I so love about what you do. I know that if someone has a rescue animal that they got and they're wondering, what the animal's history was, all they've got to do is make an appointment with you. And I know my friend Mindy has a dog that's a rescue, and Frankie had some peculiar behavior. So she made an appointment with you, and you talked to her. You talked to her dog Frankie and explained to her who adopted him and what kind of environment he was in and how abusive it was and some of the things that the abusive person used to do. And it totally connected the dots for her to understand what the behavior was about and what triggered it and why he did what he did. And you gave her some suggestions on how to calm him and how to de-escalate situations. And she found that they were very effective, and she was really, really grateful, especially if she was in the car and Frankie was starting to have a meltdown. She had a way of, calming him down. And so I just want to let our listening audience know there's a lot of different reasons you would want to make an appointment with Donna, more than to just ask, does my cat or dog like their food and their bed? There's just so much more, to be had.
Yeah, thank you.
Conversation
Thank
opportunity.
you.
And
thanks, Maishali. I'm glad to hear that Frankie is, it helped them, because with the rescues, especially, is such a, it's they all come with, not all of them, but 90% of them come with experiences from their past, and sometimes even just to be dropped off at the shelter is a horrible experience for them, because out of the blue suddenly there are people just shove them to the shelter and now they're gone, and what the dog or cat's supposed to think, So just even that is really, really traumatic for them, even though, let's say, they were not physically abused or anything like that. But just the fact they will drop off at the shelter or on the street or wherever the people, get rid of their animals they don't want anymore, that is a huge trauma. And it really helps, as you said, just to talk to the animal, because they can, since they don't speak our language or we don't speak theirs most of the time, they don't have a chance to talk about it. Like, person would go to a therapist and they would talk about what happened, but the animals can, and they need to get it out too. So I always, when I work with rescues, I kind of like to say that I am the therapist, the animal therapist. because it's just talking about what happened to them is a huge release for the animal.
Yeah.
You know, because they love, they like, oh, you know, I finally found somebody who can understand me and I can share my experiences, and it unburdens them. And then they can feel better, they're more calm, and they also, their people know what happened and why the dog is acting up so this way, or why the cat is acting up this way, you know. So, and sometimes you don't get, and I'm not saying to blame the foster people or the shelters. Sometimes, even though they know the info, they don't tell you because they don't want to jeopardize the adoption, you know. Like this is something what happened to me with my own cat, because I adopted him when he was a year old, and Fonzie was never, the foster told me he was never adopted. And he's a black cat, and, you know, black kitties, they have a harder time to get adopted. So, but when I got him home, he was very friendly, was not, you know, but he was super afraid of a plastic bag, like a trash bag. If I take a trash bag out, he would completely go berserk. Like, you know how you take it out and you shake it out a little bit and you try to put it, and you're going to put a fresh trash bag in. Oh my God, he was going crazy. So I asked him what happened, and he told me he actually was adopted to a family with 2 kids, and he was being, because he's young and he likes to play, and he was being rambunctious and he was running around, and he did something, and he scratched, or he went into a drawer. There was a girl and a guy, and he went to the drawer of the girl's clothing, and he just messed it up. And I don't know if he peed there. I forgot what he told me, but basically he made a big mess. And the kids, they stuff him into the plastic bag and hold it, and you know, and yeah, and so there was just this what happened, and then the family gave him back to the foster because he was too. They said he was too wild, he likes to go to drawers and stuff, but he was just, this was the experience he had, and and not only he's terrified, he's no longer terrified of the plastic bags, but he also, when I did some healing on him, especially I'm looking at his chakras, there was always, he always in his heart chakra had a block, and when I look what it is, he said to me, I'm not wanted.
Oh.
Because he was given back from those people. And for animals, when humans refuse them, we don't even think that the animal understand. But when we refuse them, they take it very badly. They know it because they feel it. They know that they feel they failed. You know. So he was really. He said he's not wanted. And it was not only this family, also he was, because nobody wanted to adopt them because he's a black cat. So his siblings, he had a tuxedo brother, and his mom was red, and he had the red brothers and a tabby. He had everybody got adopted but Fonzie, and he got adopted once, and it was not good. So that's what I want to say, that when you really actually know what happens, you know, it really helps the animal, and it helps the people to understand also, you know, where the animal's coming from.
Yeah, it really fills and connects a lot of dots, and it allows whatever frustration the animal companion owner is going through, it allows them to digest it from frustration into a better understanding. It allows you to let go so much of the frustration you're feeling, and, you know, kind of put it more in proper perspective. And one of the things that you had talked about, sweetheart, I want to make sure that we have time for it, because I know there's a lot, you've just got a wealth of information, is you wanted to give some holiday tips for people to keep their fur companions healthy and safe.
Yes, absolutely. And I know I do it every year, but I think you cannot never repeat it enough, because always
repetition. Yes.
So, because I know the holiday is such a great time of a year, and we want to have fun and we want to be happy. But when something happens to your animal, like your animal gets into your Christmas tree and eats the tinsels or eats crunches the ornaments, and is taken to the hospital or gets poison on the plants and such, is not fun. So I wanted to really quickly talk about the dangers of holidays and how to prevent them. So number one, of course, is the tinsels and the Christmas ornaments. So now tinsels are very, they're not toxic, but especially when you have cats. I think cats are much worse with the tinsels and the ornaments than the dogs. So the tinsels particularly, or anything which shines and sparkles and moves. So it's not toxic, but it's really attractive to cats. And the problem with tinsel is that once it's consumed, it can cause really serious injury to your pet, to your animal intestines. And it's actually, it cannot be digested. And so it twists and bunches inside the cat's intestine. And because the sides are sharp, it can cut the intestine in the end. And this is again something which I experienced on my own and I learned the hard way, because my cat Chert, when he was about a year and a half old, he, without me knowing, I used to put tinsels on my Christmas tree and make it beautiful. And I made a Christmas tree. Only what it took was one night. The day before Christmas Eve, I made a Christmas tree. And next day, on the Christmas Eve, in the morning, of course, I put a bunch of tinsels, because that's all, especially in my country, it's all about it. The Christmas tree has to be like, you cannot see the tree under all the ornaments and tinsels. So next day, Christmas Eve is a big holiday for us. We celebrate Christmas Eve, so I was cooking dinner, had friends over. Well, Chert is not doing too well. He was normally he was very rambunctious, but now he's like kind of sad looking, and then he throws up, and he threw up tinsels. And I really didn't think anything about it, because I didn't know. It was like, this was like almost 20 years ago. And so I was like, well, whatever, he's going to get better. Well, he threw up again. And so I called the doctor, and I told him he threw up tinsels. And he said, oh, bring him in immediately. We went in. Cat was fine. I don't know, nothing. And then they took him in. Doctor comes out and says, well, he has so much tinsels in his intestines that we have to do emergency surgery for him right now. And it was about 4:00 on the Christmas Eve. And he said, so you have to decide now. It's going to be $5,000 because it's a holiday. And the surgeon went home already. So the decision has to be made now so we can call him back. And basically, if you don't do the surgery, it's a 90% chance he's going to die. So, oh my God, I never forget that. So, plus on top of it, my cat is super skinny. He's like a partially Oriental cat. So he was so thin. I'm like, how is he going to even find the intestines in this cat? Like, that's just beyond me. So he was, and I was say, what is he going to, what about the success of the surgery? I said, is there a chance he might die? And of course, they don't never tell you there is a chance, So I was hysterical, but of course, I'm going to do anything for my cat. So he did have the surgery. He spent 2 days in the hospital. So that was my worst Christmas Eve ever. The next day, I went to visit him. Poor thing was fine. But you know what? They showed me the back. They actually, the tinsels, which they took out of his intestines. And it was a small plastic bag full of tinsels. I don't know how the cat ate so many of them, but he would have died for sure. If they didn't operate on him, that would be it. So that was my story and it was just so traumatic. So since then on, I have no tinsels, and I caution everybody who has cats not to have tinsels on your Christmas tree, because it can be definitely deadly. So
I can't imagine, that's one of the top 10 horrific ways to screw up your holidays.
Oh, it was the worst Christmas Eve ever, but I still had to go through with the dinner and everything because I already, it was crazy. And then me and my friend had to take down all the tinsel from the tree before Chet came home because the doctor said that obviously my cat loves tinsels and I should have anything what shines or moves, I should have it out of my house. And would you believe, so never tinsels on my Christmas tree. And would you believe that now, almost 20 years later, my cat is 20 years old now. And I was making my Christmas tree a couple of days ago, and I took out this Christmas ball, which kind of has like a silver, it's not tinsels, but it's like a silver disc and it sparkles. He runs up, jumps on the table, and first thing makes a beeline for that particular Christmas ball with those silver things which you can break off and eat and really get sick, and starts licking on it. Like, so even after 20 years, he did not change his behavior. So it's basically, you just have to watch for it. Same with tree ornaments, and this is probably more for dogs, because if the dog, wants to get some, they see nice shiny balls and he wants to crunch on it, and if he, God forbid, swallows the pieces, he's going to cut his mouth, and then again, you're going to have a big problem. So any tree ornaments which are like a glass or aluminum, or they breakable, it's good to put them higher up where the dog cannot reach them.
Miss Donna.
Now, next thing,
Miss Donna, we have a caller. We have a Susanna on hold who would like to chat with you.
Sure.
Okay, Susanna, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can,
yes,
sweetheart.
Hi, Susanna.
Hi, Donna. Remember, I don't know if you remember, I had a session with you, I had a session from my cat, Prince, several months ago.
Yes.
A black cat.
Yes. He was last.
Yes, and I don't know if you could possibly get, contact him. I don't know if he's still alive, and
no,
you can please.
No, remember last? I remember. No, he has not been in his physical body for a while.
Are you able to contact him in spirit then?
Yes. You want me to contact him now?
If you would, please. Can you?
Sure. You wanna? What is it you wanna ask, or you wanna tell him?
Well, I just want to know, how he is, what's going on. I miss him. I love him. Anything he wants to say.
Okay. So let me
What happened to him, maybe?
Mm-hmm. So here he is, and he said that he says that the reason why you don't feel he's not in his physical body is because he still hangs around the house outside, but he is in his spirit. He said, I'm still with you. I am, he hangs out around the house still. He's outside, but he comes inside too sometimes. And he says that he's sorry that he was not able to get better, because when he was sick, he went away because he felt that he's going to be able to get better on his own, and he didn't want you to worry for him. But he said his physical body was not able to fight the infection. It feels like it was some type of infection of lungs. In the end, it seemed maybe like a flu or something, but it happened and it got into more, it just was. He said his lungs were always on the weaker side. And that basically he was not able to fight it off in the end. And he just wanted to protect you from seeing him like that. And it was easier. But he said, I'm sorry, I couldn't fight it because I would have otherwise still be with you in my physical body, but I am still with you anyways as in my spirit. And I'm telling him, he says he knows you love him. And again, he's very sorry. It feels like he feels your pain and the fact, like the void you have when he's not there. So he keeps apologizing, saying that he's so sorry that he had to leave you and leave, and just there is and leave the other kitty. And he says he loves you, and he wants you to know that he is still there, and he's mostly outside the house. And I'm asking, why is he outside the house? Why is he doesn't come in? And he says he feels that he protects the house for you, and that protects you. But he also feels that maybe he says that you will, if he comes to the house, you will know he's there. And he was kind of not sure if he wanted you to know that he is no longer in his physical body, that he would it was almost like he would take away the hope that you will see him again in the physical body. But he says if he is okay to come in, that he would come in and that he will hang out with you inside the house, and as long as it doesn't cause you pain. Would you be okay with that? Or rather not?
Oh, of course, yes. And he doesn't need to be sorry about anything. He's my precious baby, and any contact with him I would appreciate, and I love him and miss him.
He's very happy. He said, "I'm very happy." That he's happy to that you you accepted the way and that he can be home. He can come inside the house, and he says you will see him just like he in his usual places. He showed me like this like a blanket, but it's more like something would be on the bed or on the sofa, and then like a windowsill. So I don't know if he liked to sit on the windowsill, by the window. He says you're going to see him in his usual places, and you will feel him because you and him always had a strong connection, that you will see him when he's inside.
Oh, good. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I would love, I have been hoping all this time that possibly he's still alive, but obviously he's not. But yes, I would love. I just want to feel his connection again.
You will, because he's showing me that you and him had a very, very strong, energetic connection together. And he also says you are very intuitive, and you will feel him easily. Okay.
And you mentioned something. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. What do you want to ask?
Oh, okay. My other kitty princess, his sister. I wonder. Sometimes she just looks at me. She just really looks in my face like she's trying to say something to me. And I wondered if it has anything to do with Prince, and does she feel Prince, and are they close together still?
Yes, she was. Actually, he says that when she looks at you, she was asking you if you know that Prince is outside the house in his spirit, and if he can come inside.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Because she knows, and she sees him outside. when she hangs out with him outside. But again, it was his choice that he didn't want to upset you by hanging inside the house. So until he had your permission, now he will.
Oh, good, yes, and so he and the two of them are still close, right?
Yes. Because animals can see spirits easy. So for her, even though she might miss his closeness, like hanging out with him in a physical body, she still sees him and she hangs out with him just like she used to do. And they still love each other just the way they used to before. It doesn't change. It really doesn't change, anything for them. I mean, changes the physical aspect of it, that they can really, see. They cannot feel the animal in the physical body, but other than that, they see them much easier than we do. It's more like pretty normal to them to see spirits of other people or animals, or,
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
All
right. Thank you. Anything else about Prince or Princess that?
He's just very excited that he will be able to now be inside the house, and that you and him will be able to communicate together. You are gonna be able to feel him. Okay.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. Well,
good.
Thank you, Susanna. And
okay.
I had to put two of my kitties down on the same day, and it took me 4 years before I was ready to have animal companions again. And I called Donna and had a conversation with her and said, find my old kitties and find out if they're coming back or if they're not coming back. And they told me that they were going to work with God and find some new kitties for me. And they told me what to look for so I would know which ones were mine. And just know that you can always call back and talk to Donna and ask her for an update from Prince.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. At least now I know what the situation is, and that I won't be thinking that he might come back and with his body in the same body might come back to me.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of a closure. Yes.
Yeah.
And thank goodness, imagine him thinking that I don't want him in the house. My goodness, I always want him in the house. I always did, and I always will. So.
They're just so respectful.
It wasn't
so respectful of our feelings.
Yeah, it was not that he would think you are mad. He just was trying to protect you, thinking that maybe you feel him inside the house, and you will know he is. He didn't want to cause you pain. Basically, he was being considerate.
Yeah, he's much too nice. He's very sweet baby.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he's going to be with me more. And he's going to be in the house too. So.
Well, he's very happy about it now. So you can be very connected. Even though he's in the spirit, it's still going to be very real for you to feel him.
Yeah. Well, the pain is not,
it's the first
I
of your
pain, but the pain is not going to be any less or more if he's in the house. You know what I mean? It's just the pain of not having him physically. But yes, of course, it's less if I can feel if he's in the house and I can feel him.
Right.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's put it this way: this is the beginning of your forever Christmases together.
Oh, that's lovely.
And so enjoy that intimacy, sweetheart. Enjoy it. It's a special kind of sweetness.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Donna. And thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Yes. Thank you for calling in, sweetheart. Donna, can you believe it? It is the end of the show. It always happens.
I know. okay.
We
It goes
just
fast, right?
we've just got about a minute and a half. So if there's just some last thoughts you wanted to leave people with for the holiday, and I know you'll be back in 2021. So people listening to this on the download know that just check the schedule. Donna will be back. Is there anything you wanted to, any thoughts you wanted to leave people with, sweetheart?
Just enjoy the time with your animals, and I always say, please do not put the Christmas outfits and antlers and all that stuff on the animals, because they do not like it and it's not cute. It's maybe kind of cute only for the people. Also, I always say, please don't put jingle bells on their collars, because it drives them crazy. And then, that's just for everybody to have a really great, happy holidays, and hopefully our next year is gonna be better.
Right?
Yeah.
And Donna, as always, you're just one of our most gracious, informative, loving guests, and I'm so grateful for you. You add so much. And you have the best holiday ever with your fur-covered companions. And Donna and myself and everyone from CTR, we wish everybody the absolute happiest of holidays. And Donna will be back with us next year. And until we do it again next week, rock on, babies.
You've been listening to You Are What You Love with author Vaishali. To order Vaishali's book, You Are What You Love, or to schedule a private self-emergent session with Vaishali, visit youarewhatyouLove.com. Thanks for joining us, and remember, you are what you love, and you love whatever you give your attention to. So love wisely.